Welcome back to Live Inside the Booth. It's been a long time. Listen, we wanted to make sure that we started everything up after the state championships ended. Huge shout outs to all the Dallas teams in 3A, 4A, 5A, 6A, everything. They pretty much took home all the prizes. They took home all the medals, all the hardware. So shout out to the Dallas crew for everything that they did up there for winning the state championships. Inside the booth now, we're about to start focusing on summer ball now. Some high level teams, high level players from the middle school to high school, 15 through 17s, everything. Now, again, I'm your host, Marlon Lowe. Follow us on Inside the Booth at Inside Booth on Twitter. Listen, before we get started, if this is your first time joining us, look at that screen. See that subscribe button, tap that subscribe button, be locked in. You'll know every time we begin ready to start Inside the Booth sessions, and you'll know who we have coming on ahead of time. At some point in time, hit that share button, hit that thumbs up button to let people know that you're enjoying what we're doing. If not, you give us some feedback and let us know how we can continue to improve. Today, we got Marcus Sloan with us. He's from OTR, on the radar exposure. He has a great website, otrexposure.com. You can follow him on Twitter at Big Sloan. We're going to talk about Jim Hicks' 2019 Spring Icebreaker. Hicks has been running this Spring Icebreaker in Houston for it's probably about the 16th, 17th year. I'm probably a little bit off right there, but I know I'm in that range of area by at least 17 years maybe. Listen, we're going to talk about the 1500 division here in the city of Houston. What kids stood out to Marcus Sloan as he participated, watched, moved from gym to gym to watch the 1500 division. We got to talk about team matchups. What teams were great matchups? What players were good? We're even going to talk about his own roster list of the top teams that he has in that division. So without further ado, let's bring Sloan up inside the booth because he's been waiting. And I know y'all been waiting too. Let's see what we got going. Sloan, what's up, man?
What's going on? What's up, Lo?
Not much. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Not bad at all. You recovered from running gym to gym this whole past weekend, man?
I did, man. It was busy, tough on my gas tank. Summer Creek MI3.
Hey, man, listen. If you had to, at least we didn't have to go all the way down the Beltway, like in previous times where you might as well donate $30-$40 to the city over the whole weekend. So so Hicks saved a lot of people some money with that this year. So we thank him a little bit, but even still, we did have to go down to Summer Creek. I went down to Summer Creek a couple of times, and either you're gonna get there in 20 minutes, or you're gonna get there in 35 minutes if you choose not to take the toll. So the choice is yours, basically.
Yeah, man. Then I had to go, support my boy Proc, man, at his baby shower. So left Summer Creek, shot over there to Sugarland, Aaron Proctor and his wife. They had a new baby girl. So a little, spend time with them a little bit. Yeah. Absolutely.
Got to do that. That's important, man. Hey, family and friends first, man, above everything else. They're part of the reason why we're in the positions we are today. So
absolutely.
Look, let's go ahead. Let's start talking about this Jim Hicks spring icebreaker from this past weekend.
Yes, sir.
He had a 66 15 and under teams in the 1500 division. Now, obviously, we can't go through all the teams.
Right.
At the beginning, you might find some sleepers at some point in time, but at the beginning, there was some good matchups that you anticipated looking at. What were some of the matchups that you looked at from the beginning, or however you want to bring it into play, your introduction on what led you to some of those matchups and games? Let us hear a little bit about it.
Well, I think everybody in the city wanted to kind of see that JL3 Elite. There was so much talk about John Lucas's new 15U group and the 16s too. And, Richard Law taking this team from the hoops to JL3 and how that transition will work and the meshing of groups and, what that will look like. So the first game I wanted to see was a very intriguing game between them and the Houston Defenders, which also has some really good players, notably Cam Crockett, who's played for ULO for a number of years when he was a young kid, 4th, 5th grade. And they had a guard man, Zaire Walker. So in that game, The defenders, man, like it was kind of back and forth game, and they took the lead. But Zaire Walker, point guard from Dawson High School, stole the show. At one point, he scored 8 straight in that kind of third quarter, which kind of gave the defenders that edge, that lead to end up winning that game. But he was really good, man. He had 17 points. Cam Crockett had 18 points. And for JL3, again, it was their first time kind of being on this stage playing together. They have a big kid out of Austin, Texas name. I'm going to mess up his last name for sure, but his first name is Nakari. His last name is like Igion. I think that's how you say it. He had 22 big points. Patrick Chu, kind of guard wing, he had 12 points. And Port Arthur Memorial point guard Amari Abrams scored 13. And that matchup between Amari Abrams and Zaire Walker will be something to kind of watch and take note of for the future, those 2 point guards.
Okay. So what was that tempo like in that game? Was it up and down game, slow grind?
No. Up and down game, a lot of toughness. And like that's why I think the defenders won. They have a couple football kids on that team. It's a kid, last name Green, goes to Dickinson, a big time tight end prospect who's a freshman. He's on that team, kind of made some plays down the stretch in the paint for the defenders. Again, super fast paced game. Richard Law and Marcus Ebo in that JL3 elite. They have a really good group, talented group. It's just the defenders were better that day due to the physical nature of that game. Okay.
So who won the game? How'd that end up?
The defenders won 63-60.
63-60.
Yep.
Down to the wire.
Down to the wire game. Back and forth game down to the wire. The defenders made some plays down the stretch. JL3 Elite had enough fouling, just to stay close, kind of go back and forth, but the defenders pulled it out.
Okay. Now we might have to ask Brandon Jenkins with Prep Reports who the young man is from the Austin area. You said what's his name again? That's playing with JL3.
Nakari. His last name is spelled Igiehon. I pronounced it Igion. I'm sure that's probably incorrect, but that's how I pronounce it. But yeah, his first name is Nakari.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So we had JL3 and the Houston defenders going at each other. Pretty good crowd on hand. They played the MI3.
MI3 center court, 5 that, far court in the corner where you can't get any service. But I wish I could have tweeted out some of the pictures and stuff I saw because it was a really good game between 2 young groups.
Man, I know. Speaking of MI3, man, I know they some good people, man, but we got to work on that Wi-Fi, man. I'm not sure what it is. It's been going on for several years now. Nobody really tripping, but man, it would be so much. They've heard it all, so we could talk about it. The ambiance and everything else would be so much better if we can.
Oh, absolutely.
Get our thumbs on that keypad and send it out while we up in there, man, during those games. But I get it.
A lot of brothers get in trouble at MI3, man. Wives and girlfriends acting like why man getting the calls and texts.
Yeah.
Service MI3.
Or if you want to get away and act like you ain't know, just say that you was at the MI3, baby.
Very true.
Okay. True. Give us another matchup. What was one of the other matchups of the weekend that you thought was pretty good?
Actually, so the championship game in the 15U gold bracket was a surprising, man, Team Harden. So I put out kind of the power rankings of summer teams last Thursday, and I did not have Team Harden in my top 5. But they came out and they won the 15U gold bracket. They beat the Houston Hoops. Who actually are the Hoops 2022 EYB group is primarily comprised of their 2023 really good 8th grade group, and they added a kid, Chancellor White, the freshman at Foster High School, with that group, and they'll add a couple more pieces. But Team Harden beat them in the finals, man. Team Harden, they have a really good scrappy group, undersized group. They got a kid, Jalen Goodman, who's a freshman at Decaney, played JV and some varsity at Decaney this year, really quick, really good guard. You got another guard, Trey Miller, pretty tough. Connor Miller, also on that team. Ryan Moore and Vinnie May all look really good for Harden. Yep. So they end up winning that 15U gold division by beating that Hoops team, who will be really, really good, especially next year because they'll bring those kids back and play them 15s again.
So they got it. So the Hoops actually have a collaboration now, like you said, with Chancellor White from Foster High School.
Yep.
Now they said they'll be picking up another one as well. So they have basically bought up their 2023 group, and they're playing them as in the 15th division and kind of mixing in a few other freshmen with them.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. I had a chance to see them on. I think my first time going was Saturday. I got a chance to see them Saturday play against Texas Hard Work.
Okay.
They're coached by a former coach of ours, but he's a good friend of ours from the city, Caesar Smith, and TJ Johnson. They were on the bench together, and they were excited to see. That game went down to the very end as well, and that Houston Hoops Blue Chips wound up pulling it out the end. So
they got some good young guards with that group, man. Orlando Horton Jr. is the 8th graders on that group. Chris Johnson, a really athletic 6'2" 8th graders on that group. Jacob Cole. They got some really good pieces on that team, young pieces.
No doubt. Hey, so now check this out. Even with that, now you might have to throw them into your 2022 rankings as well.
I mean, yeah, no,
they might just slide into your top 3, 4, whatever. Maybe I'm not sure if you're gonna want, but they might slide up in there.
No, like that Harden group will for sure bump up 2 or 3, maybe even number 1 on that list. Like I said, those kids play hard and they play fast, and like they were really disciplined. And shout out to Greg, Howell, and Eric, man. Like they've done a really tremendous job with Harden the past couple of years of building their young groups with their 14s and 15s, and like now they are kind of players here in the city with those 2 groups.
Cool. Look, now we back inside. Listen, again, guys, if you're watching at home, hit that subscribe button for us. Give us a thumbs up. Sloan in here working hard for you, giving us all the information, all the details and names that you need to have. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at BigSloan32, at BigSloan32. Go to the website, otrexposure.com. You'll be able to get a whole list of all the team rankings and players and everything else that he has available for you, what he's giving you access to. And interact with him, dialogue with him some, because I know one thing about Sloan is he puts out some great reports. You can go and read a lot of his stories on there. And hey, listen, he ain't afraid to go back and forth with you on Twitter too, y'all. So if y'all know that.
I want the smoke. I embrace the smoke. If you need the smoke, I can give you the smoke. And man, sometimes I just I've been tweeting out, my DMs are open. People DM me about the rankings of certain kids and teams. And then when I went to go watch some of the kids, some of the kids didn't match some of the DMs I got. So my DM's still open. We can still have conversation. I'll still listen. I just know that I do this for a living. I watch kids. I've been evaluating kids even when I was a player, when I was 17 years, 16 years old. So for 20 years now, I've been doing this. So, and again, for me, Lo, it's nothing personal. It's all business.
Absolutely. So listen, he said some of them DMs don't match the games that he was looking at. Y'all's games don't match them DMs. So make sure that he's coming to the gym along with other guys that we got in the city. They have no choice but to compare what they looking at and what you said to the game that they're reviewing with their eyes. So make sure that when you selling it, you better sell the whole story. Sell the whole story.
Absolutely.
But no,
get to it, man. Like that's the thing, man. You have to get this again. I tweet as kids, parents, man. Like your tweets and your texts and these DMs, man. Like at the end of the day, the kids got to settle this between those lines, and it's about competing. It's about playing hard. It's about going hard. So if your kid's doing that, you should have nothing to worry about. Absolutely.
No doubt. No question about it. Give us another matchup that you looked at throughout the course of the weekend, which was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Who else should we be paying attention to going forward?
So Sunday, I also saw Randy Livingston brought his Fleur de Lis team down here from Louisiana. They got some long kids, man. I saw them on Sunday versus a Houston Defenders team. Fleur de Lis ended up winning that game by 2 points, I think, 63-61. But the Defenders, they have a new player from the Congo named Zif Zainubin. He's about 6'6", really athletic. In that game, he had 20 points, 18 rebounds, and 10 block shots. He was really impressive against the length of the Louisiana team that Randy Livingston had, man.
Triple-double? Hold on. You say triple-double?
Triple-double. Yeah, 10 blocks. Yep. Yeah, he's super impressive, man. Athletic, tough, physical. Only second year playing. He just got here maybe about a month ago. Been working out with the Defenders, man. They've been training him and getting him in the gym. And he looks the part for them, for sure. But that Florida Lease team, man, they were just long across the board, athletic, quick. They ended up beating the defenders by 2.
Okay. Florida
Showcase
Lease.
game. Yep.
How did those young men that you spoke of earlier, like Cameron Crockett and Zaire Walker from Dawson High School, how those guys match up during that game right there?
So in that game, Cam Crockett again, man, he's arguably one of the more talented kids in that class. And Lo, firsthand, man, he did pretty well attacking the basket, trying to take off on dunks. And even Zaire, like, he impressed me, man. He didn't play much at Dawson on varsity this year. I definitely think that'll change next year, but he looked really good, man, getting in the lane, finding those guys like Cam and the big kid Zeef down low for easy baskets.
Now, Florida Lease, who runs that team?
Randy Livingston, former Houston Rocket, former LSU guard.
And he's putting some work in. He's obviously just took over that program. I think he collaborated. I can't remember my name, the name of my man's name that he collaborated with, but I know they put some good players together. I got a chance to see them on Sunday as well. They played against JL3.
Okay.
Looked pretty good. It came and that was another game that went into overtime, I believe. Maury Abram I think he scored like their last 8 points to get them into overtime. Then hit a 3, probably about 5 feet in front of half court at the buzzer to send it into overtime. So, that was a big time game. It was really good, and I enjoyed it as well. You got any other matchups, or we want to talk about some teams?
Well, so the last matchup I saw JL3 play Urban ASAC, and JL3 ended up winning 65-41. BB Knight had a big game, knocked down 4 threes. The kid in the car we mentioned earlier had 15 points, 10 rebounds for them for JL3 Elite.
Now, BB.
Yep.
Tompkins High School.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about his game.
BB's a big-time shooter, arguably one of the better shooters in the class, about 6'3". Hit like a little growth spurt this season. Body's getting better. I think BB also made maybe second team all-district this year, if not first, but for sure he made one of the district teams. Coming along, working on his handle, trying to learn how to use ball screens better to, handle the ball a little bit more, but big-time shooter, physical kid, really good kid off the court too, but he's one of the JL3 Elite's top guys in that group. Okay.
All right. So everybody, once again, Marlon Lowe, we have Marcus Sloan. You're inside the booth with us right now. We're talking about Jim Hicks, RCS Spring Ice at RCS Sports Spring Icebreaker 2019. That's a hashtag SIB 2019. If you want to go in and read some people's reviews and updates on what happened this past weekend in the city of Houston. Marcus Sloan's basically talking about the city of Houston's class of 2022. And we also now have to incorporate the Houston Hoops Blue Chips, who got a combination of 2022s and 2023s into his updated rankings, maybe, possibly, if they're going to continue to do that. So now let's get ready to talk about, as you said, Sloan, before this past weekend, you had put out a list of just like everybody does around the country. We have a preseason ranking, then we have an in-season. And many rankings flip throughout the course of the season. From college basketball from week to week, NBA from week to week, and everything else. So your rankings previously going in prior for the class of 22 going into this weekend, how was it? And let's see about any changes that you foresee making.
Well, so for the 2022 class, the individual rankings, I didn't do those individual kids until after their season, March 9th. I kind of ranked them individually. But
team ranking.
Like with the NCAA, they have AAU power rankings, per age group, 17, 16, and 15. So each Thursday I'll update my power rankings, kind of prior to the big event. So last Thursday I had my, 15s rankings, and the number one team I had, last week was JL3 Elite. Second was the Houston Defenders. Third was that Houston Hoops group that moved up. Fourth was the PB Nation group, which is, the old kind of, they had some kids from Houston Flight and some other kids kind of mixed together this year. And had a tie for fifth was Basketball University and Team Harden. So I did have Team Harden ranked tie for fifth, but they'll for sure jump up and they might end up being number one when I put the list out this Thursday.
Now, people have to understand this, man. In regards to team rankings, A lot of people don't make adjustments, man. And one thing that you saying and you letting everybody know right now, which I think is really big time, is the fact that you're able to make adjustments. You sit back saying, look, I didn't expect Harden to be that good. So you gave them some motivation going into it right before. And guess what? They went out and put the smackdown on teams, and bam, now they up to possibly number one, like you said, which probably will number one. They won the SIB. They won the spring icebreaker in the bracket play flat out. So maybe we'll have them number one.
Yeah, no, I mean, just like I tweeted to, those guys running Harden, they saw the list, they saw it was tweeted out. They didn't complain. They didn't moan. They didn't cry. They just went out there and took care of business. And now, like you said, they'll end up being number one, possibly number two when the next power rankings come out on Thursday.
There it is. Now, Sloan, let's talk a little bit about, matter of fact, that PB Nation.
Mm-hmm.
Any players stand out to you on that team? Anybody people can need to be watching?
Well, to me, they have a kid, Ja'Cory Chapman, who played JV this year at Hightower, who they moved up for the playoffs. A guard, really good point guard, played with team chemistry in the past. About 6'2", really athletic, savvy, played really well, averaged about 13 and 13.6 assists this past weekend for PB Nation at the Icebreaker.
Yeah, Ja'Cory's tough too.
Yeah, he's very tough.
He's hard, man. I really love watching him play, man.
Very tough.
Great family, so love watching him. And they used to be Houston Flight.
Correct. So some of the kids from the Houston Flight 14U group last year are now with that PB Nation group.
I ain't mad. That's a good group coming in. Well, look, man, I know we didn't got our matchups in. We didn't talk about some our team breakdowns, team power rankings. My bad, thank you. And then are we going to talk about any individuals, because there's a lot of individuals that we talk about that maybe some 15s that didn't necessarily play 15s this weekend. They might have played 16s or 17s in the division. So give us some names of the players that we're going to have to tomorrow. We'll get on, and I'm pretty sure we'll have Ani Umani from the Metroplex area and Brandon Jenkins from the Syntex area. We might be all on together, kind of talking inside the booth about 15s and 16s combined. But give us some names of some 15s that played up a little bit that people should be aware of, and give us a little bit of insight on how they played this past weekend.
So the top three kids in my OTR exposure 2022 rankings all play up. Number one is, of course, Bryce Griggs at Hightower. Plays for Team Harden 16U. He was really, really tough this weekend, man. He had 31 points on Saturday. In the game I saw him, he had 23 points versus the Houston Hoops 16U. Just Bryce being Bryce takes over the game. Really, really good offensively. Gifted score. PJ Haggerty, who plays for TJ4 Elite 17U, he had a big game too, 24 points on Friday night, I believe. And then I saw him score 21 on Saturday. So when you see PJ, you see his frame, you don't think maybe he's I call him a babyface killer. Can really score the ball, can really shoot it with range, big time player. And then Shawn Jones also plays 16U for Team Harden. Go to Shadow Creek High School, long, athletic kid, 6'5", plays a wing, plays some inside, outside, versatile kid. He had a nasty baseline dunk on Friday night too, man. Really, really a bouncy kid.
Okay. So when your rankings come out, how would they reflect whether a kid plays 15 under or 16 under? Does it mean that just because a kid is going to play if a kid plays 17 under or 15, 16, or 17, does it mean that just because a kid plays 17 that he'll automatically be in front of those kids that are playing 15s and 16s? Or does it depend? Why don't you share with the viewers about how you
so with those rankings, especially with the 15U kids, like I said, the top three kids in the class, according to OTR, are ironically they all play up. Griggs 16U, PJ Haggerty 17U, and Shawn Jones 16U. So, and they all play well. So, if a kid does well on 15U and a kid's doing, just as well on 17U, for me, the kid that's playing 17U doing just as well, I'll kind of keep him higher in the rankings because he's at a higher level.
Okay. Got some people watching right now. Some of them might want to send a question and ask you a question. I don't know. But if you're watching right now, you got to got a question for Sloan about his rankings, about the teams that he saw, if he's missing any teams, or you want him to go watch some teams, make sure you get to the little chat area, send a question.
Yeah, also, too, let me say this too, low. 3D Empire out of Dallas, my guy Shawn, he runs 3D Empire. Their 15U group actually won the 16U Gold Division in Spring Icebreaker. Those kids from the DFW area, man, like he has that group rolling. I remember when he started that group years ago. He had a solid program, built a solid program from the ground up, and he'll always make sure and remind me, let me know when his teams win. So his 15U group did win the 16U Gold Division Spring Icebreaker.
Woo! Speaking of 15, speaking of 3D Empire, man, I was gonna kind of lay low on that. I wasn't gonna speak on it, but I don't know what happened this past weekend. You know, summer ball and everything else brings a whole lot out, baby. But it was a tweet that went out.
Misunderstanding, yeah. So Shawn is my guy. I saw the tweet. I got a few calls about it, and it was kind of a misunderstanding from a parent and a guy who's was kind of a volunteer coach for the hoops, kind of pointed at a kid and kind of knew of some kids, but I talked to Shawn, worked it out. It was no harm, no foul. The kid was kind of just getting information for the kid, and Shawn, he didn't know who to tweet, who to talk to about the situation. So, he was a little upset, felt it was unprofessional. Mm-hmm. Like I said, he and I talked about it afterwards yesterday, matter of fact, and he kind of explained to me what happened. And so we kind of, I just kind of let him know, what the situation was, who the guys were, and he and I kind of worked it out, talked about it. So he's cool. It's all good.
Okay, good. Yeah. Now, speaking of, we got to get Shawn, man. We're going to get Shawn up inside the booth to talk about some of his players, man, because he got a big-time group that a lot of people were talking about. He's going to come in here because we got some college coaches that watched this and have actually – I got a little feedback today. They asked me how things were last night, asked me about some feedback from this past weekend. I ain't see everybody, but they say they're looking forward to hearing, some breakdowns from yourself and the rest of the guys we're going to have on. But Shawn can come on, and not just Shawn, but some other coaches can come on eventually, get their feedback, tell us about their program, tell us about the players on their team, and maybe some different levels that they feel like they can play in. So I'm going to leave it to you, Sloan. I think I got Shawn's information, but maybe you can holler at him. Y'all can come on together one time, be like Mike and Ike, maybe we can get it in, So 3D Empire, man, they got some players.
They do.
They got some players.
They do.
They got quite a few players, but they got I can't remember the young man's name, but he's about 6'1", about 6'2".
It's a kid, Baylor Head. That's one of them.
Can really
shoot it, really tough, man. Like, again, you look at him, you wouldn't think he was as tough as he is. He could play, man, can make plays, reach pick and roll, understand how to play. And Shawn arguably has some of the best sets I've seen run in summer basketball. I mean, he has those guys, like, they have about 20 plays, it seems like, different variations of plays, and he has his little card, and they run some awesome sets offensively.
Good. So that means there's a lot of teaching going on, man.
Absolutely.
And we've had a debate that has not been public. The first time I'm going to talk about this is right now. So you heard it right here first inside the booth, y'all, about what's really going on behind the scenes. People have been asking to kind of bring up this conversation, and I'm cool with bringing it up. There's no true winner. There's no true winner in this overall, but some people ask, who do we think has the best coaches that help prepare kids? Whether it's does Dallas high school coaches help prepare their kids better? Central Texas, does Houston kids help prepare their kids better? And I don't know, it's a lot to be broke down in that. But the biggest thing is, one thing I do know is that from a 17 under perspective during the summer basketball, a lot of the DFW teams really, as Paul Miranda said, they got smacked when they came down here this past weekend. A lot of Dallas teams did. They didn't really walk away with the hardware they thought they was going to walk away with, or they have with in the past. But at the same time, they bring up the conclusion as far as, hey, we got 3A, we got 4A, 5A, 6A. We all got the championships back here in Dallas, baby. Why is it that Dallas teams are progressing from a high school perspective? I don't think I'm not sure. I'm not just putting you out there, Sloan, if you want to touch that.
So for me, I was at the state championship all 3 days, and after Duncanville won the championship, I tweeted that Duncanville has a professional basketball coach Like, they wanted to win the state championship. They wanted to bring Duncanville back to its glory and, you know, back to its powerhouse status. So they hired David Peavy to be their basketball coach only, paid him handsomely, and made him the professional basketball coach. He didn't have to teach class. He didn't have to be the monitor in the cafeteria. He didn't have to do all the extra things that coaches here in the city of Houston has to do. He gets paid to coach basketball, period. And because of that, you kind of almost reap what you sow. Like, you get what you pay for. You got a state championship in his first season.
Love that. And that might be a conversation that we'd have. Should the city of Houston and the surrounding region of Houston and Metroplex area around Houston adapt a system like that? Because these guys are really doing well. And in the past, let's call a spade a spade. Dallas has had more elite and impact pros than Houston has. Now, I didn't say they had more numbers of pros, but more pros that people recognize their names, the Kenyon Martins, the Chris Bosh, the Darren Williams, things of that nature. Our biggest name is Rashard Lewis, TJ Ford. Obviously, now we got De'Aaron Fox up there, things of that nature. But in the past, they've had a lot of names that have been more recognizable than Houston. So I'm not sure if that plays a part into it or not. But maybe that's a discussion that needs to have. Does Houston need to kind of get themselves out of the proverbial box and start expanding the reach for high school coaches and help them to be able to do more for the kids?
I definitely think so. When a coach doesn't have to, like I said, teach 3 classes and go do cafeteria duty and have to do after school bus routes, and it's hard to get your team focused if you got to put in grade sheets and turn in grade sheets and do lesson plans and coach a basketball team and run a practice and get good assistants.
Right. Absolutely.
Football coaches don't teach class in the state. Very few high school head football coaches teach a class in Texas. Most of them are athletic directors in the schools.
Mm-hmm.
So very few teach a class.
I get it. Well, look, guys, once again, as we get ready to come to conclusion right here, thanks for joining us inside the booth with Marcus Sloan. Make sure you, again, follow him on Twitter at BigSloan32, at BIG Sloan, SLOAN 32. Interact with him, hit him with some questions. He's sure to respond to you. He'll let you know his thoughts and opinions. His website is at otrexposure.com. He's got a whole list of team rankings from summer basketball. He updates them on a weekly basis. However, just like the NCAA and the AP polls and the coaches poll, he's one of those guys that's not afraid to let you know that, look, you earned the right to be here. But guess what? I'm watching you. If next week you ain't on there, you might drop back down. At the same time, make sure you follow us on Twitter at Inside the Booth. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, give us a like, give us a thumbs up, man. Let us know that we're doing well. And Sloan, hopefully we'll get you back in here tomorrow with Brandon Jenkins out of the Syntex area and Ani Umani out of the Metroplex. We can talk some 16 under basketball, which will include some of these 15 under guys, and we can get ready to go a little bit from there. Then hopefully on what's tomorrow, Wednesday? Yeah, and hopefully on Thursday, we can bring the big boys out. We can talk 17 and under and bring some things up because there was a lot of surprises in here. Won't throw it out right now, but some people thought some guys weren't going to do as well as they did. Some people who thought we're going to do really good really tanked it. So we good. Sloan, I appreciate you, man. And thank you all for joining us inside the booth. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Click, share this with some friends. Let them know we're here. We're going to be going on and on and on with this. I'm looking forward to bringing Fam Elite inside the booth. Want to get with them and talk about their program. They really made a big surprise on the 1700 division on Saturday. Beat a team out of Dallas. We're going to talk about all that on Thursday. Dylan Miles. They got Dylan Miles and some other guys. Dylan Miles plays at Humble High School. Humble, right? And Dylan hit a big James Harden sidestep 3-ball for the win. That was pretty big on the 17. It was nice. Again, Marlon Lowe, we'll see y'all tomorrow around the same time, around 12:30. We'll have Ani Umani in here who'll be talking from the Metroplex area. We'll have Brandon Jenkins from the Syntex area, Central Texas area. We'll have Marcus Sloan back in here again, talking about 15 under, 16 under as well. And then on Thursday, we'll be talking 17 under basketball. We're going to be in here 3, 4, 5 times a week, guys. Appreciate your time. Enjoy it. Make sure that you all enjoy your day. I'm Marlon Lowe. Again, follow us on Twitter at Inside Booth. Y'all take it easy. Have a good day.